Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Beastly EO, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the latest episode of The Penguin. So we're going to divide it up into three parts. The first part being the Falcone side, and then the second part being the Maroni slash Penguin side, and then the third part will be the two combined, and you'll understand what I mean when we get to it. But for now, let's talk about the Falcones first. So the episode begins with what looks like Gotham City PD, so GCPD, pulling out all of the dead bodies of the Falcones. Pulling them all out, Sophia and the little girl being the only two survivors, and Johnny Vitti disappeared. So she gets questioned by the um, chief of police over at Gotham City. He's basically like, I'd like to know kind of what's going on here. You know, I've never seen a I find it hard to believe that a gas leak took out the entire family without anybody else figuring it out. And the fact that you were nowhere to be found during the time of the gas leak. And so she knows exactly what he's getting to, so she changes her tune, quite literally, and is basically stating that what are you more nervous about? Are you more nervous by the fact that they're dead, and you're worried about who killed them, or are you more worried that you don't have as much money in your pocket anymore? And that's where he kind of backs off and is like, well, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And he leaves her alone. We see that they go through the whole house, get everyone out of there, blah, blah, blah. So the next scene actually has Johnny Vitti tied up in a mausoleum for the Falcons. So she's basically threatening him, telling him that, oh, isn't this what you always wanted, was to die with the greats? But don't worry, I'll just find a nice little hole for you to go into once you're dead. But she stated to him that if you wanted to live, you would tell me where all the money is, the money that is untraceable. Now, obviously, he's refusing to do so, and she goes, fine, freeze out here, see if I care. And he's basically like, well, how do I know you're just going to kill me anyway, so why am I going to give you that information? So she leaves, comes back with a massive bucket of water, and says, Johnny, I respect you a little bit, but, it's going to get real cold in here real quick tonight. It's going to drop to the 40s, I hear. And it's going to take a lot for your organs to it's going to take a lot for your organs to keep a lot for your body to keep your organs warm, and then proceeds to dump the entire bucket on top of him. So she's laying on a stone slab smoking a cigarette, basically explaining like, hey, you can end this right now, just tell me where the money is. Once you tell me where the money is, I'll gladly let you free. You could go back inside, warm yourself up by a nice fire, and smoke a big thick cigar. He begins to talk about her mother and how he regrets not helping her, and that she was a strong woman who wanted to leave her father multiple times, but failed each time because she always came back for the kids, aka her and Alberto. He's like, I failed protecting your mother, but I don't want to fail protecting you. You know, you're gonna want to take over this town, and you can't do it alone. You need respect. You need people who respect you, and I can get that for you. He's like, I can be the one to do that for you because I want to protect you more than I protected your mother. So, needless to say, she lets him free. While that's going on, she's getting herself ready for a big meeting, and that's when her psychiatrist comes in and is basically like, Sophia, I heard what happened. I know what you did, and I want in. I want to help you get to the big top. I want a taste of the pie. And she's like, sure, whatever. But she's like, you're going to do what I say and basically whatever I tell you. And he agrees. So Johnny gets the entire Falcone group of men all there. Sophia comes out, and what we can see is all of her scars on her body, specifically on her neck and her shoulders. So she takes off her big jacket and she explains that the Falcone family, her father, made it so nobody spoke of her mother's name. That nobody would ever speak her mother's name again. Wiped her history off. So she says there's not going to be a Falcone family anymore. During this whole speech, Johnny Vitti is trying to get her to stop talking. She goes, I'm a gigante, and that's what this family is going to be from now on. And what this family is going to be is a family. Everyone's going to be a part of it because we're going to make sure that everyone gets their money distributed evenly. No more of people getting scraps because if you do a good job, you deserve to get paid for it. So she goes on that tangent. Johnny is basically yelling at her, telling her to shut up. She pulls out a gun and shoots him in the head. She goes, see, there are no more Falcones. It is no longer in existence. But I'll offer you all this money. So she takes out all the money that was untraceable, dumps it on the table. She goes, if you want to work with me, take it. If you don't, the door's over there. So they're hesitant at first. One, asks her, calls her Miss Gigante. She's like, take it. So he takes it, and then everyone else begins to take it as well. And she's realized that she has the power now. And obviously, the psychiatrist is very happy with what she was doing, and she's thrilled with herself as well. That is the end of that part of the episode. We'll get back to Sophia later. So we have the Maroni side. So we have to start off with Penguin. Penguin escapes from the Maronis. He lights his car on fire. He gets all of his men together and explains that they're going to steal from the Maronis back what was theirs, which are the mushrooms. So they agree. They figure out they're going to take the son of the Maronis out of the picture, use him as a bargaining chip to get their mushrooms back. So this idiot, the Maroni's son, decides to post on TikTok about how all the Falcons are dead and the Maronis are going to live and, you know, be the powerhouse of Gotham City again. And then proceeds to say he's going to be getting the best back tattoo you could ever see and pretty much gives the address away. So Penguin and his guys come in, shoot everyone down, grab, um, they grab the Maroni kid, lock him up, and they take him to the escort's house, which she's not happy with because now that's putting a target on her back, and she doesn't want that. She's protesting, but either way, Penguin goes to Blackgate to speak to the Maronis, who are basically flipping out, and he's like, "Hey, I got the bargaining chip here. Like, if you don't want your kid back, I don't really care." Um, and he's basically stating he's gonna let them, he's gonna give them their kid back unharmed without any issues. Neither of the Maronis believe him. Um, excuse me. At one point, they try to speak in their native language, and Penguin's like, "No, no, no, none of that." And then, oh my gosh, what is his first name? Anyway, Mr. Maroni stands up. Sal stands up and is like, "Hey, I'm the one in charge here." And he's like, Penguin's like, "I think you forget who has the prince here. I do. So you don't have any power here. So you're gonna do what I say, and you're gonna do it. And you're not gonna, whether you like it or not, I don't really care." So they make up a meeting place. Penguin tells him that he only wants the wife there, and Sal's like, "No way in hell." And Penguin's like, "Fine, you can bring one god because I'm respectable, but my mushrooms better be there." So he goes to leave. He bribes one of the guards to attack Sal. Um, During that time, they have the meeting over at, I would imagine, the place that Sophia had all the drugs to begin with. While that's going on, Sal gets stabbed by a guard who Sal decides to kill. I know I say it in such a weird way, but he kills the guard, gets the keys, and escapes. Obviously, the Maronis um, basically try to screw Penguin over. They all come out trying to shoot him out. He and his guy, he lets the boy loose. He's covered in gasoline, walks over to his mother, hugs her, lights it on fire, and the two of them burn to death. Penguin and his guy get into the truck. They get going. However, because of the fire extinguishers go off and hit the mushrooms. So they ram through and get out of there. He pulls the truck over and realizes all the mushrooms that were uncovered turned to dust, mostly due to the fact that the humidity changed significantly thanks to the fire extinguishers. He gets a phone call from Salvador basically stating, "Hey, thanks for the keys to get me out. I appreciate it, and I'm coming for you." And he's basically like, "Well, you know what? You can go pick up the bodies or what's left of them of your wife and your son, and we can talk later." So Penguin's now on the run. He asks Vic to take his mother out of the city. So Vic does so. He takes her back to his area, which Penguin is not super thrilled about, but it's a place that nobody would look for him or for her. So he gets her there. During this whole time, she's being a very stuck-up woman who has no fear whatsoever. There's also the big I I hate to say boss, but he's kind of like the big cheese that was there when Vic was there, living there. And he sees Vic and this woman go into the house, go into the apartment building. So Vic uses the apartment of his friend that was shot in the head when Penguin gets captured. So because of that, we have an empty apartment, and we get a little bit more information about Penguin because apparently she and the boys lived in an apartment very similar to this, and she hated it. During this time, Penguin tries to get the escort lady to come join him. She refuses. He leaves by himself, gets to the place. He sees how messed up the place is. He realizes his mother's disappointed in him. He goes through his stuff and notices the underground trolleys. He goes to find it, opens it up, goes down there, and realizes it's a perfect place for his base of operations. And it's a perfect operation to actually grow mushrooms as well. So now the agreement is that's where they're going to have their base of operations growing mushrooms in that part of the area. So the last scene of the episode is between Sofia Giganti and Salvador Maroni. So her guards take out all of his guards. She goes in and she's like, "Sit down, Salvador. We need to talk." And she basically explains like, "Hey, we need to work together to get rid of Penguin because he's caused both our families harm." And he's like, "Falcons and Maronis will never work together." And she goes, "I think you misunderstand. There are no more Falcons. It's only Gigantes now. And it's going to be a brand new family combining together to get rid of the man who's hurt us both." And at the end, they agree. So that's the end of the episode. What I think is going to happen, obviously, is it's going to be the lead up to Penguin getting attacked, or at least the war starting between the new massive crime family versus the other crime family now, which is Penguin. So the Gigantes and Maroni family versus the Penguin family, and we're gonna have to wait to see what happens there. And obviously, we also know that that other boss guy, who's really just nobody, he's going to at least find out the Penguin's there and his base of operations. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out as well. But for now, let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments. Did you like it? Did you not? And why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night. Bye bye.